Hello, everyone. Welcome to the day 5 and the last day of the Cloud Native Sustainability Week. My name is Saiyam Pathak, and I'm a CNCF ambassador, field CTO at Civo, and I'm joined by my friend Divya.
Hello everyone, I am Divya Mohan, also CNCF ambassador, and I work as a senior technical evangelist at SUSE. Over and above all the open source work that I do as part of my day job and as part of my ambassador role, I'm also a maintainer for docs on the Kubernetes project. So we're finally here at the end of this week that we've gone through so much of learning and awareness with respect to sustainability in the cloud native and tech ecosystem. But we before we start the recap, Sayam, do you have something that you'd like to share with the audience or stuff like that?
Definitely. So, first of all, wow, what an amazing week. I personally learned a lot of things throughout this whole week, and different tools, different processes. There are organizations. So, we had everyone from different organizations, and we can see that all of these organizations are not only thinking about sustainability, they are implementing, creating solutions, product to support the sustainability and making sure we are doing something right, like we are innovating, we are thinking, not only just using, consuming stuff and just go by the standard means of expansion, but also thinking that in future the need, multifolds, the technology multifolds. So we have to think from different perspectives with respect to the environment changes, climate crisis, and all these things, and how as engineers, software developers, and people in the software cloud native ecosystem can actually create something out of the existing tooling, and not like you don't need to know about all the political aspects, you don't need to know a lot of things which are also happening, but you still sitting at home, like the work from home era, you can still sitting from home remotely for your softwares, for your organizations can contribute. And when done in conjunction, like when thousands and thousands of people will be doing it, it creates a big impact. So that's what we learned, that's what the whole series was about. And so glad to have this CNCF promote this cloud native sustainability week, a very good cause in terms of knowledge sharing. So we'll be sharing some of the stats very soon. So very good in terms of knowledge sharing, how we all are conducting different set of meetups regarding different tools and technologies across the globe and spreading the knowledge in this ecosystem. We all are learning, and we all are researching more and more in this. At least I'm doing, and I know Divya is doing, because she just shared a few awesome links prior to this starting going live. So we are learning a lot, and I think so are you. Hope you are too. So if you haven't watched, this will be available. Obviously, this is recorded and will be available for you to watch the recordings as well. That's a good part, I believe so. And I have seen the first video, the first one that we did, have already crossed 350 views, which is great. Like people are caring about it. 350 people are caring about it, which is awesome. They want to know more. They want to know, understand more on the toolings. So yeah, I think I have enjoyed a lot and learned a lot, and I'm excited to share a lot of things. Actually, Divya as well. So we are excited to share a lot of things with you over the week that we have learned, and some of our opinions and thoughts of where we think the stuff is going, the movement is going, and the software industry is going. Some of the rules and regulations are going. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I see a few folks have joined. So thank you so much to the audience who have been encouraging enough to join and comment and be there with us. That's the support needed. Obviously, I know people watch the recording, but a few folks live makes it interesting. So you can always leave the comments, your thoughts, your questions, discussion points, anything is welcome. Just please be nice to each other. And let's get started. Let me start sharing the screen and see if we have something. So, slideshow. Let's go. So, Cloud Native Sustainability Week live streams hosted by Saiyam Pathak and Divya. You already know that. You already know our lovely hosts. So, this comes under the tag um, environmental sustainability and CNCF. So that's the stats that I was talking about. So you can see that over the period of time, this week especially, there were more than 21. I think there were around 25, 26 plus meetups. So few of them were in person, a few of them were virtual. But we have been seeing a lot of great images from all these meetups in the tag environment sustainability. So if you join the Slack channel, you can see that there are a lot of good pictures of the events posted over there, how successful these events were. You can see the little ticker below to join it. And then daily blog posts. So every day, there have been daily blog posts with respect to the same sustainability week, driving the education and driving what all things can be learned in this ecosystem. Virtual mini conference that was yesterday. So the recording of that as well will be out soon. That was done, I think, as part of Zoom kind of thing. But that went well as well. It was There were a lot of things discussed about tag, a lot of things discussed about um, the new um, working groups, which I'll also let you know if you haven't watched yesterday's stream. And then daily live stream, that's us. So we were the part of daily live stream that we wanted as part of Cube Simplify. I and Divya wanted to contribute something, wanted to learn. Learning is always one aspect, but we also wanted to participate actively in the sustainability week. So we dedicatedly spend 2 hours daily of our time, so that we can learn, we can organize, we can create this experience for ourselves and yourselves. So we got every day a new person joining it with us. So we got Hendrik from Dynatrace, we got Mark from Deep Green, then we got Raj from Avesha, and David from Expanso. And now we are here to kind of summarize and understand what all we learned, and also a bit more about tag environment sustainability, like how you can get involved, how you can contribute, and things like that. So, CNCF is Cloud Native Computing Foundation. It is a hub that has a mega landscape, and actually, there is a navigating through CNCF landscape video that Divya, Savita, and Kunal did at KubeCon, which was very fun. And I think you should watch that if you want to understand how to navigate effectively through the CNCF landscape. And so CNCF is that, and then there are, like, obviously there are a lot of things that wants to get associated and wants to get under a single umbrella. That's why there are the expert groups, which are called the technical advisory groups, like the tag storage, tag security. That Those are the major innovation hubs where there are like research. The papers are published for the best practices, like the platform engineering is there. You have your operator paper is there. So you have different set of papers that are with respect to end users, contributors, maintainers. Everyone's get together, brainstorm, and create best practices kind of thing. And then yeah, Tag ENV supports the CNCF community and its open source projects to become more sustainable. So one more thing that was part of the vision was to how the CNCF projects can be made more sustainable, what we can do for the CNCF landscape to get maybe visibility or understand what is happening, I'll tell you one of the project which was just launched yesterday, and which was like in talk since August. So we'll talk about that. Anyways, so this initiative was started. The tag environmental sustainability, the tag technical advisory group was started back in October last year, and it's been 1 year. The technology has emerged a lot, the education has emerged a lot, tools has emerged a lot. And if you see KubeCon EU keynotes, you will be able to understand that there were many different talks, many different instances where it was talked about the environmental sustainability, some of the projects. And that's where my interest also, got into this particular thing. Like, we have to learn something, because I was always thinking that, it has to do something externally, like not within the software ecosystem, how we can do that. But when I read about it, when I read about some of the mapping between how you can measure your carbon footprint in general, with respect to the softwares that you use, and how to map softwares to hardware, hardwares to CPU cycles to, all those research papers, how there are tools to do that effectively on the hardware level, vendors are providing that. So then it became a lot more sense to grab those. I actually did create in the past months videos on Cube Simplify, on Cube Green and Kepler, a deep dive ones. So you can go and watch. I think Kunal is already there in the chat. So Kunal, if you can just pop in the links for those videos if anybody wants to watch. Moving on, these are the tag env projects. So first, you have the landscape, and landscape of all the projects that falls under the sustainability ecosystem. So all those are there, just like a standard CNCF landscape for any particular area. Like for example, you have a runtime landscape for runtime, you have landscape for WebAssembly, you have different landscape. Yesterday, the project that was launched was the CNCF Green Project Reviews. Now, the aim of this project is to calculate the footprint for the carbon footprint for CNCF projects, so that the end users know how much this particular project, will be uh, utilizing in terms of the carbon footprint. What would be the carbon footprint for this particular CNCF project? And then they can decide which one to use. uh, I mean, obviously, first factors would be the purpose, the solution to the problem that you are having. And second, if two or three are matching your solution, because there are a number of CNCF projects, then you can also, like, this will also be one of the metrics where I think people would definitely like to consider from a CNCF projects. And for the project side, it also means that they can start working on some of the smart decisions that they make, maybe CI, maybe how they run it, how they do, different things, and reduce the carbon footprint. So I think it will help both ways, for the maintainers and for the end users. And then the green ones, the light greens ones, they are in planning. So Kubernetes sustainability deep dive, because the CNCF landscape is revolved, as everyone know. Kubernetes was the first project, so it has always been revolving around the Kubernetes ecosystem. So that makes sense to have a Kubernetes sustainability deep dive. And in future, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing some of the workshops as well. I myself might create one, and that's a good idea. I just thought of creating a Kubernetes sustainability workshop. Anyways, and then moving on to the maturity model of this is something that is in progress. So all the projects are open, and they have different Slack channels, I believe. I think Green Project Reviews just got a Slack channel yesterday, if I'm not wrong, or day before yesterday.
Yep.
And then, yeah, and then, yeah, it's basically all the projects are open, and we love to collaborate with you here. That's the whole point of started the same principles from Kubernetes community to CNCF community to the tag. And Divya can obviously comment more, as she is already the docs chair. She knows how welcoming the community is, and every small contribution matters, whether it's talks, whether it's researching, or whether it's anything. So I think that is something which is there. Divya, anything you would like to add?
Right, I think you pretty much summed it up with respect to where we are when it comes to CNCF tag environment sustainability. I don't think I can like sum it up better. But I think next we should go on to how you can contribute, because the point of this is, once you've gone through these live streams or their recordings, you'd probably want to get involved in some capacity. Maybe you're good with outreach. Maybe you want to help with the green reviews process that Sam was talking about in the previous slide. Maybe you have inputs on how we could actually evolve our maturity model. Whatever be the case, I feel like once you know a bit, you are obviously going to crave for more and more knowledge and more experience in that area. So, how to contribute to the CNCF tag environment as is right now? So, first up, as is with all the projects across the ecosystem, you join the CNCF Slack, and within that there is CNCF Slack channel, hashtag tag and environment sustainability. It's there right on here, and they have meetings. You ensure you can attend some of them, or even if you prefer working async, I'm sure that can be accounted for. But yeah, I mean, first step would be to join the Slack channel and to introduce yourself and say in what capacity you can contribute and what you're familiar with. Once you join the Slack channel, I'd also highly recommend as the next step to browse open issues and look out for relevant labels, because open source projects, because they're voluntary in nature, are often looking out for contributions, and they do label issues. At least in the CNCF ecosystem, they do label issues correctly in order to attract the right kind of contributors, because we don't want to intimidate first time contributors with like an issue that is not really uh, meant for them in terms of expertise level. So there will be good first issues, help wanted labels and enhancements and stuff like that that you can look out for. And if you're not sure, make sure you ask, because that's what the community is there for. Ask, and basis what your skills are, people will be able to guide you. But make sure you don't actually pressure people with your questions and expect like immediate replies, because typically when you're working in like an open source ecosystem, people are working from different countries, continents really, and time zones. So there's not going to be an immediate reply. It's going to be probably over a couple of days, but uh, be sure that you will get a response. And I would highly recommend asking stuff in public, because that helps others learn about your questions. Like maybe another person has the same question as you do. So ask your questions in public is what I would recommend. Not just here, everywhere that you contribute, because it helps other people learn. And what I would highly also recommend is to read the contributing.md file, and in general the contributors guide that CNCF has, so that you can actually effectively contribute rather than pestering people, which is also okay. But I would first recommend that all this be done and then you ask your questions. So that's about the gist of how to contribute. And like I said, ask questions, ask a lot of them, but also don't expect immediate replies, because we are all working in different time zones. Now, so that was a bit about what and how to contribute to CNCF tagging. But recapping what we did over the past couple of live streams, right? We started off first with Henrik, who was so kind to guide us through the integration of Kepler and Cube Green. Kepler, I think Sam will cover in a bit, but Cube Green is a project that I dove into personally after Henrik displayed it. I mean, demonstrated it on the live stream, and I found it personally fascinating. Like, honestly speaking, the concept of pods, like I know that everything works on electricity and things do consume energy and electricity comes from somewhere, but the concept of pods actually consuming energy, and us actually being able to conserve energy by shutting down pods when they're not in use in the dev and staging environments never struck me before. And that was uh, novel. I think, at least in my head, it was a novel approach. I'm not going to say that, it is for everyone, but for me personally, I think it was a really, really novel approach. And I'm looking forward to a lot of the innovation that's currently happening in that project, because with the concept that it has currently, on how it can shut down pods basis the time that you've given it for a specific period of time on these specific days. I think it's a very great add to the whole ecosystem around sustainability that we're trying to build. And along with the integration to Kepler that Henrik talked about, I think it's all about mixing and matching the tools and technologies that work for you in order to better your approach to sustainability. So that was one thing. And another thing that really fascinated me was Avesha Smart Scaler, which is not technically open source, but the idea and the approach did leverage open source tools. And Raj did promise, as I quoted yesterday, that it will be open for public to play with it as an ops GPT. But I'm really impressed by the innovation behind that particular you know framework as well, because leveraging AI to actually intelligently scale your pods and to intelligently scale your workloads um is obviously something we've all thought of, but to actually have that working in production for a customer is like really novel for me. And I think I echo the sentiments when I echo pretty much everyone's sentiments here when I say that I would really love to see more innovation in this space, even though AI by itself is a huge consumer of electricity, and it's a huge power hungry monster in itself. I would like to see how, as an overall project, not project really, but as an overall framework, this evolves to be more carbon efficient and carbon aware, and how the whole direction of this project goes through. And with that, I think I'll hand it over to Sayam back to talk about Kepler and the Backlog project that we spoke yesterday. Do you want to take over, Sam?
Yeah. So the Cube Green and Kepler integration was pretty interesting. So, like Divya mentioned, Cube Green lets you scale down your deployments and the jobs to zero, uh, which is like it's common sense, right? If you are not working in the non-working hours, dev and stage doesn't make sense to be up. So you can always scale them, the workloads to zero. But with the Kepler integration, you can actually monitor which containers in which namespaces actually consume how much carbon consumption they have. So you can have the power consumption with metrics that Kepler makes it available. So Kepler is uses eBPF probes. So it eBPF probes will get the performance counter, the energy stats counter. So it gets you the process name, container ID, perf stats counter, and it measures the hardware metrics from the sensors, GPU metrics, and all the other sort of estimates. Then it passes. So there are two levels of exports here. So this level of Prometheus it goes into the machine learning model. So they have the online and offline. So you can have the offline mode ML model and online model server where it goes. Now, this is where the data, the metrics that gets enriched with all the utilizations. So it intelligently maps the metrics exposed and get and calculate the power consumption, the carbon consumption, and all those petroleum the metrics, and then it again exposes it as a Prometheus format, which you can consume as a data source in any of your visualization tooling, whether it's Dynatrace, whether it's Grafana, or whatever tooling that is. You should be able to use that very easily. Now, very interestingly, the thing that was shown in the first live stream, and you should go back and watch the demo, that was beautiful, because not only the Kepler metrics, but also some of the other metrics that was used in the observability space. There's a lot of metrics. So logs is something that is very interesting. So if we can get logs from the application, like what are the most active areas for the application when it's running, and logs is something that you can count on. So you capture the logs from certain period of times, and the period of times where it is sleep, like we can have uh, you know 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever the sleep is, and it's not working, then it generates a cube green sleep info manifest file, and either it applies it directly or via webhook, or you can have webhook for sending it to you and you can apply it. So basically you don't need to write the time and specify the time zone and specify the deployments and all that stuff. Your metrics from your other sources plus the Kepler metrics intelligently can have this solution. Actually, Avesha Smart Scaler also uses Kepler metrics plus their own in-house AI model, and then it uses HPA and CADA, these tools for intelligently auto scaling, and then they have some metrics written on their website. How interesting, that is. Interesting meaning how they are able to the performance with respect to HPA, how that works, and when you are doing it with smart scaler, how much efficient that is. Bacalhau was yesterday. I was not there in the stream, but I know about this project because I have tried it out previously. So Bacalhau is again open source project. You have the so think of it as a decentralized um, system of nodes. Let me give you an example. You all know Kubernetes clusters, right? So think of it as a cluster. So you actually can create a Bacalhau cluster. What happens is there are a few nodes, and in this the terminology are requester node and compute node. So you create a Bacalhau node, and you that can be a requester node. So when you are communicating, you communicate with Bacalhau CLI that I want to run this job, I want to run this particular workload. Now I'll tell you how cool that is and how efficient that can be. So now one node, let's say, is sitting in London region. Your requester node or whatever node is sitting in the region where you are. There is actually a public Bacalhau network that you can try right away, which is free. But this is your own cluster that you are creating. So you have your own requester node in London, and then you have compute nodes which are spread across Frankfurt, Germany, New York, Phoenix, and a lot more regions. So you have the compute nodes. Now the thing is, based on the location, like edge locations that we talk, you can have the Bacalhau will be installed on both. The CLI will request, like you as an end user will be talking to the Bacalhau CLI, and CLI will request the requester node to run the workload, just like the scheduler kind of thing, like Kubernetes. Think of it as Kubernetes stuff, and then it will be executing it on one particular compute node. Now behind the scenes, it is a decentralized. Basically, it allows you to communicate decentralized in a network of nodes. So you what you have created, you have created a network of nodes across the globe. So that's what you have created, and in this you can be passing the jobs to the requester node, and it will work. So that becomes your Bacalhau network, and it's powered by behind the scenes. The protocol that is being used is IPFS. The transport protocol that is being used is B protocol. And it has like storage verifier. It is very good for batch processing jobs. It's obviously low cost, and then it becomes the resource efficient. And since it becomes resource efficient, fast, cost efficient, it automatically contributes towards the sustainability goals for this particular project. I think that's I mean, it's also one of the interesting things. And whenever I think of decentralization, I always think of BitTorrent in the older days. So just if you're not familiar, if you didn't get anything, just think of when you were downloading a movie from torrent, somebody was seeding that so that your download speed can be there, like you can download it because somebody is seeding to in the node that is closer to you. Similar to that, this is a network that you own, and you run your workloads, and you can run your workloads near to your customers. You can do a lot of mapping in this area. So it's an intelligent scheduler, I think. And for disaster recovery, if your whole London region goes down for your cloud provider, no worries, because you have a compute node in totally another region, which should be safe ideally, if it's not a total loss situation for all the regions, which is a hypothetically impossible situation. But yeah, it it gives you a lot of areas where it can help. So that's where we have discussed a lot of tools, organizations working for provide. And Bacalao is open source. Avisha Smart Scale is not. I wish it was, and I hope they launch at least the free tier soon. And the next thing that I want to talk is the sustainability at data center. Now that is also a very interesting story. um, because now till now we have talked about the software stuff, right? But in the end it runs on the hardware. And like Divya mentioned, AI and all these AI powered tools have become a monster hungry for more and more GPUs, more and more computes. And with the chat GPT stuff, the open AI stuff, you can see multifold. I think everybody's feed is with top 10 AI applications that you should be using, right? So everybody has seen that tweets, tooling. So, all those tools are there, and all those tools run on hardware, and hardware, they are consuming it. And more and more more and more demand is there. And to fulfill that, there will be supply. And that's why there is lack of supply, and there are orders that are taking, like for A100s, the lead time is so much, like 70 weeks. For H100 is it's even more. So you can see the lead times are also getting higher and higher. So anyways, production will get up of these, but where to deploy them? Like, you need electricity to run it, and you don't have electricity, infinite electricity to run everything. You cannot run on a single grid all your data centers. You cannot run on a single grid your increasing number of data centers. That the demand is increasing, not 2x, 3, like 10x, 20x. It is increasing like this. So because the technology is increasing, every night you're sleeping, tomorrow there is something new out there, whether it's CNCF ecosystem, whether it's in AI ecosystem, whether it's a new technology. Suddenly Bun appears and says, this is the most fastest thing that you'll ever see. So there are a lot of hype cycles, there are a lot of things that is happening around us. We are living in a very interesting age of technology. It is very small iteration is being projected as a new tool. But anyways, these need something to run. You need something, data center. And cloud providers, or they all will be start deploying more and more data centers because of this demand. But you don't have the energy. So what the Deep Green folks have come up with a solution that you can actually install and reuse. So 97% of the electricity generated is given out by heat. So that heat can be reused. And reusing the heat is not rocket science. It is actually practical, implemented, and they are doing it. So reusing the heat for a lot of things. For example, very simple example, what they are actually doing is they are heating up the swimming pools. So in EU, Europe area, and UK area, you have a lot of swimming pools. You have temperatures, low temperatures, so you need the swimming pools to be heated up. And why not use the data centers heat to heat up the swimming pools? So you put up the data centers in that oil kind of machine that Mark was showing. You can go back and check that full slide. That was a very beautiful presentation. And then they are converting that heat to heat up the swimming pools, which is fantastic. And you can use this in a lot of places. Like, you have countries where the temperatures are in negatives always throughout the year. You have a lot of spaces, a lot of areas where you have very cold areas, you can use this heat. You can, and then this is only one part. The vision, when he was showing the vision, he talked about like, this is just one use case. He talked about more 30% use cases, like the washing machines. I don't know, I don't remember more, but there were like 30% use cases that were there. Yeah, you want to
Powering the
add, Divya,
electrical
anything?
grid, and yeah, powering the electrical
Yeah.
grid. And actually the vision was to actually have like a city that was powered by this thing, partially, and to have this taken off the grid completely and stuff like that. Y'all should definitely go and watch it, in my opinion, because that was one like eye opening sort of a thing which I have
Yes.
personally not heard of before. So yeah.
Yeah, and they are doing it. Why I can say, because Civo is a big partner of Deep Green. When you log into Civo, there's a Deep Green region. When I launch a GPU instance there, it is actually heating up the swimming pool. I know it because it is happening, and the software hardware's beautiful integration has made it possible. So I think this will become a norm in future, because uh, there are regulations that are coming in, that as hardware manufacturers, you need to provide the carbon footprint. As data centers, you need to provide the carbon footprint. So these will soon become a norm. And then obviously, if you are not doing something with respect to reusing the heat, you might be ending up paying more taxes and stuff like that. Like, all these speculations will come into picture very soon. Not like soon means tomorrow, but yeah, soon means in terms of the policies that governments make. But government is smart. They are trying to push. They're not trying to push you in terms of like do it. They're trying to push in terms of the bigger vision of carbon neutral, of living happily, even after 50 years, 60 years, so that we have a good sustainable future. That's what we all are looking for, right? We are seeing the global temperature rises. I think Divya shared a tweet as well today for the temperature graph that was there, like how cold it
Yeah.
was, and now there are no cold waves at all. I mean, that we can see it overall. So I think people like Deep Green, folks like Deep Green, and all these, they are thinking a lot. They're doing a lot, innovating a lot, and that's where the real innovation is. And it's not limited to, like, it's actually not limited to anything. You can think of a lot of areas where you can innovate in this particular field and make a bigger impact, like a really, really huge impact. So that's what we learned over the past few days. And I'm glad that we learned a lot of things in the past few days.
Absolutely. And I think because we learned all of this, I was personally very motivated to go and do a bunch of research of the grid. And I wish I could like info dump all of it on this stream, but that will be another 3 hours if I start info dumping, because I will ramble. And I don't think anybody has the capacity after a week to hear me ramble about sustainability and what I have learned about sustainability outside of this. But one thing I definitely do agree, Sayam, regarding the deep green stuff that you just said. Um, this fear, outside of just cloud native tech, there are a lot of other innovations being done. In fact, I don't know how many of y'all are actually aware that I don't know how many of you all use Windows in the very first place, but in like very like 2 years back, I guess, or a year back, Windows has actually released a preview to Windows 11 users regarding a sustainable way of sending out updates on their machines. So that was very, the way it was done is it was basically going to update or send those updates to your machines based on when it was, when those machines were actually in the network with the lowest amount of carbon usage. And the the machine would calculate, like that the laptop or the computers would actually calculate that. And this was something I discovered completely out of the blue while researching about cloud native sustainability and sustainability in general in the wider ecosystem. And with this whole live stream, or the set of live streams that we're doing, or we've done rather, we're at the end right now, so we've done, we hope that this actually kind of um, causes you to think like this. It's our hope that it actually makes you think about the kind of things that you can do within your workloads, and the kind of things that you can incorporate within your workloads. And if that helped you in any way, if we've helped you in any way, or if these live streams have helped you in any way, please um, share your thoughts on this QR code, um, by scanning the QR code again, of course. So please do that, and it would be really helpful for us to understand if if the information that we curated over the past few days was actually instrumental in your journey towards sustainability within the cloud native and the tech space. Anything you want to add, Sayam?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely scan this, reflect on the meetups. I mean, obviously there will be meetup written over there, but you can mention like what all uh, details, what you attended, what you learned. I think that would be really cool. So make sure you do that. We'll know if you attended as well. That would make us happy that there were folks who listened to stuff and who actually wanted to know more about this. So yeah, hope you have scanned till now. Else you can always scroll back and scan.
And this is for those who've actually joined yesterday's meetup, virtual meetup, not the one that we streamed here, but the
Yeah.
virtual meetup that was organized by CNCF in lieu of the week that they were celebrating and we were celebrating with them. So this was a separate meetup. So if you attended that meetup, and if you were influenced, or if you learned anything from there, this is for that particular reason. The first one that we displayed was for only the live streams that you'll have attended, that Sayam and me have hosted over this week. This one is for the virtual meetup that CNCF TAG has hosted. So please be mindful of where you give your feedback. So
Yeah.
yeah, but the overall goal is so that we know what needs to be curated next time onwards. Hopefully, we have enough funding to actually end up having an in-person mini conf all over India. But that's a dream for next year. But
Yeah.
hopefully y'all have had an informative week, and we definitely have had one. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from our side. So Sam, any parting words?
Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in. Folks who have tuned in daily, folks who have tuned in partly, folks who have watched the recording, and for sharing. Thank you all for watching all these streams. Thanks to Divya, who has been there with me for all these streams as well. So yeah, I think this has been really turned out well. We started off with organizing a mini conf. We were not able to do it because of the fund limitation of the funds, but we ended up doing a super live stream series for 5 days a week. It's not easy to dedicate multiple hours daily. It's tough. And but we were able to do, and we are happy we pulled it off, and we learned a lot. And you can see, right, we correctly summarized all of the stuff, so we were listening. We were not just handing it over to the speaker. We were actually listening because we wanted to learn and share all the things with you. Yeah, Kunal, might be a special workshop in KubeCon India 2024. never know. We definitely will try to pull off something with respect to sustainability. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and make sure to fill that survey, follow CNCF Tag Sustainability, go to the website, check out the projects, get involved in the open source projects that they are doing in that particular space. And that's pretty much it from our side. Thank you all, and have a happy weekend. Bye.
Have a happy weekend. Bye.